people who went to Malaysia, you had learned very well about the science and philosophy. The attendant who didn't go to Malaysia, also I hope they study about Buddhist science and psychology as well as Lamrim. So since today we will have, I think, 4 or 3 times science and psychology class. In order to know, in order to realize the truth of the Buddha Dharma, this Buddhist science and psychology is very important. Without having, the good understanding of Buddhist science, you won't understand the truth and reality. Without knowing psychology, how the minds are functioning, then we really don't know how to control our mind, how to tame our minds. Therefore, this book is very important. So when you study, definitely, there will be a lot of difficulties. If you try again and again, you will going to understand the meaning exactly. Please don't be discouraged. Don't give up the study. I mention every time when we have our Dharma class, whatever we study, even though the Buddhist science and psychology, all the studies, all the knowledge, experience, we must put into practice. The more you learn Dharma, the more you must be happy. The more you learn Dharma, the more you become unhappy. That means the study, the practice is going totally into wrong directions. All the study about Dharma, all the practice about Dharma, only, solely, mainly for, taming our minds, only for reducing and increasing the negative and positive. All the Dharma study, all the knowledge of Dharma, you must use for reducing all the negative thoughts, use for increasing the positive thoughts. Since we start to learn something, we always focus on happiness, always try to be happy, try to achieve happiness. Happy or not happy is very much depend on you and your thoughts. If your mind is very calm, under your control, you'll always be happy. You can be very happy with simple external conditions. If your mind is not under control, if you not control your desire, attachment, anger, hatred, doesn't matter how much the external condition, the outer condition you have, you never be happy, you cannot achieve happiness. Therefore, all the study of Dharma, all the knowledge about Dharma, please put into 2 practice. Practice for reducing negative thoughts, increasing positive thoughts. So it is very common in our life. It's very common for everybody. We always confront, we always facing problem with your friends, problem with your co-worker, problem with your family, problem with yourself. All the problems able to overcome if you are able to control your thoughts. All action can be under control if you are able to control your minds. Without controlling our minds, we never be happy, we never achieve the lasting happiness. Therefore, please make sure all your study used for decreasing all the negative thoughts, increasing all the positive thoughts. So at the end, doesn't matter, no matter you are rich or poor, you are young or old, you are healthy or unhealthy, one day, definitely, we will leave this world leave us, so we have to go. If there's a next life, we will go next life. If there's no next life, anyway, still, we need to separate with our belongings, with our friends, with our dear one. So therefore, every time before you practice Dharma, before you study Dharma, must remember impermanence and death. When you remember death, after death, then you remember the karma. When you remember the karma, you must remember the positive karma always give rise happiness. The negative karma always give rise, like a unpleasant. We don't want unpleasant. We don't want unhappiness. Therefore, always, try to not engage into negative actions. Always try to engage into positive actions. Again, the action be positive, negative, is again depend on your minds, depend on your motivation. Therefore, always watch you always watch your mind, you always watch your motivation. Even though sometimes look like you are doing, good things, the action is look like, the acting is look like good. The action is rooted by negative thoughts. The action look good, but actually you are engaged into, negative actions. Sometimes you look like, your action, your acting is look like bit negative. But the action is, rooted or motivated by positive minds, the action is still positive. Therefore, the psychology is very important. So, therefore, in order to engage into the proper actions, we must know how the mind engage into the object, how the, things will change when your mind has changed. Therefore, today we start from the page number, I think, 83, right? 83, the phenomena in general. So, the general thing we will go a bit faster, also quite easy, and also not that important. Okay, at the page number 83, you can see there are 5 topics or 5 major themes. What's the number 1? Of knowledgeable object. Okay, that means you can see knowledge, then object. Knowledgeable object is mainly talking about the phenomena, the objects. Okay, object. That means according to Buddhist science, all phenomena, all existent phenomena are object of knowledge, knowledgeable object, number one. Number two, of the cognizing mind. Now you can see, the cognizing mind. That means object and subject. Object and subject. Number one is mainly subject. Number two is mainly, number one is object. Number two is subject. Cognizing mind. Number three, how the mind engages its objects. Right? Is so important. That means there's an object, then there's a subject. Now how the subject cognize, how the object cognized by subject. Then number four, the means by which mind assertion object. That means when the subject cognize the object, what is the mean? How they cognize the object. Then number five, of the person, agent who assertion the object. Now it's very clear for you. That means there's a object. That means everything's are object. For example, this table is object. The sound is object. Even though the mind also as well object as well subject. Okay, that means every phenomena are object. Object because cognized by a mind. Right? All phenomena are object. Object means cognized by a mind. Therefore, there's a subject. Then object, subject. Then how the subject, how the mind cognize the object. For example, so when you have air consciousness, then you can cognize what? Cognize the sound, the voice. How the air consciousness can cognize the sound? That means first the air consciousness need the three condition, right? The air organ, then air organ, then air sense, then there must be a object, right? Without the eyes, air organ, the consciousness cannot be existent. That means the eyes, air, the organ is look like basis. Then the consciousness is depend on the air organ. Then even though there's a air consciousness, there's a air organ, without sound, the air consciousness cannot perceive anything. Right? Anything. But the air consciousness can perceive the voice, but cannot perceive the like color and shape. This means each of the mind has a different activity, different function. Clear? Object, subject, then how the mind engage. The mind can be positive, can be negative. All minds, okay? All minds must have what? Object. Even though the mistaking mind has a object. The object exists or not is different story. Then number 4, the means by which the mind assertion object. The number 5, the person. Now it's mainly talking about the person is coming from the previous life, goes to next life. We believe the person, the being, will go all the way to Buddhahood. Then within next, look at here a few things very important. I already explained in the last class. The essential nature of the specific phenomena are discussed in the presentation of knowledgeable object. The nature and the classification of the mental phenomena that are the characteristic by the subject experience are the discussed in the presentation of the cognizing mind. That means there's an object. The object must be experienced, cognized by a mind. Then in the section on how the mind engage each object, each object means each mind has their own particular object. For example, eye consciousness perceive only the form, not the sound, not the smell. The nose consciousness perceive only smell, not the voice. That means each subject has their own object. For example, compassion is a mind, right? Compassion is a mind. So, if compassion is mind, what is the object of the compassion? What's the object of compassion? Sentient being, right? Sentient being. That means, look at, I said many times, in Buddhist tradition, love, compassion only focus on sentient being, not the object. Okay, not the physical object. But the English, you say, I love flower, I love food. But in Buddhist tradition, love only focus on sentient being. Compassion also only focus on sentient beings. Sentient being, right? So, therefore, when we practice compassion, the compassion must focus on a single sentient being or few sentient beings, many sentient beings, all sentient beings. It depends on how you practice compassion. Compassion, right? Practice compassion. For example, anger. So what is the object of anger? Anger is a mind, right? Is anger mind or not? How come today we have a lot of fly? Huh? Okay. Is anger is a mind or not? Anger is mind or not? Anger is a mind. Compassion is a mind. Love is a mind. So what is the object of anger? Still sentient being, right? Now here you can see the sentient being is an object of compassion as well as anger, right? That means now when you generate compassion towards one person, Mr. A, when you generate compassion towards Mr. B, you feel very happy. You feel happy, your mind becomes very calm, right? When you generate anger towards Mr. A, then you feel you are very disturbed. You are very unhappy. But same person, right? Same person, but when we generate compassion, that time we look, the person is nice, the person is good. When arise anger towards Mr. A, we feel very disturbance because that time you are looking, the person is very bad. That means compassion and anger is totally two opposite, contradiction mind. When anger arises, compassion decrease. When compassion arises, anger decrease based on one person. Based on two different persons, even though your compassion increased toward Mr. A, but it not necessarily the anger decreased towards Mr. B. Therefore, when you practice compassion towards someone, make sure you are focused the person whom you get angry. Okay, that means, person. Now it's mainly talking about the agent, the person who experience happiness, who experience suffering. How the person, experience happiness and suffering because of the minds. Because of the minds. There's not just only one mind, there are many different types of minds. Why person is not happy? Because that time the person has a strong negative thoughts. Why the person is so happy? Because that time the person has a lot of positive thoughts. The positive thought focus on the different object, the negative focus on the different object. That means object, subject, the person, the being who experience the happiness and suffering. It's talking about subject and object. Another very important one, engage in the object by way of elimination or affirmation. Okay. Number 1, elimination. Number 2, affirmation. So far, these two you can understand based on your own experience. When we say the person is good, right? When we say the person is good, so we eliminate what? We eliminate the bad. When we say the person is bad, also we eliminate the good one, right? This means when the mind engage, its own object can be engaged through elimination, engaged through not elimination. For example, impermanence, right? So when you realize impermanence, you need to eliminate what? Permanence. Okay? When you realize, we wish to realize impermanence, you need to eliminate the permanent. So the mind which is engaged into impermanence, it engaged into impermanence through elimination. Here another important for you, when we say eliminate permanent, okay, so when you realize impermanent of the pot, impermanent of the table, impermanent of the cup, when you realize impermanent of the cup is basis, right? Basis. The impermanent is the characteristic, is kind of, quality, impermanence. So in order to realize impermanence, when you engage into impermanence, you eliminating what? Eliminating permanent. Which permanent? Cup of the permanent, correct. So this means when we realize impermanent of the cup, we need to eliminate permanent cup. So therefore, when you study closely to the cup, when you study the cup is permanent or impermanent, then you can say the cup is impermanent because it arises from causes and condition. Okay, the cup is impermanent. That means cup is the subject of. Do you remember we have 3 things? No. 3. When we have a predicate, they didn't say subject, they add something. No, dispute subject. Right? That means, for example, you and your friend is, have a argument or have a debate. Your friend said, cup is permanent. You said, cup is impermanent. For you, how you can prove the cup is impermanent? How you can prove? Now, predicate, right? Cup is as a subject of the disputed cup. Then predicate, impermanent. Then reasoning, because of conditioned phenomena. That means cup is impermanent. That means you are making statement. Cup is impermanent. You're not saying cup is impermanent because Buddha said so, my teacher said so, I think so. In Buddhism, Buddhist, according to Buddhist tradition, you should not say I think so, I hope so. Is not good reason. Also, you should not say Buddha said so. You say cup is impermanent because it is conditioned phenomena. Whatever things is conditioned phenomena necessarily impermanent. That means, so using the conditioned phenomena, you try to prove the cup is impermanent. When you realize impermanence of the cup, you eliminate the permanent cup. Permanent cup. Now the permanent cup is what? Do you remember the negation? Permanent is not the negation, okay? Make sure permanent phenomena is not negation. You cannot negate. Can you? Cannot, because it is existent phenomena. When it exists, you cannot negate, you cannot deny, right? Cannot. That means when you realize impermanent, you are negating the permanent cup, not the permanent. Permanent you cannot deny, you cannot negate, because it is already existent phenomena. That means the negation, we say, all negation, no existence. That means permanent cup is the negation of impermanent cup. Permanent house is the negation of impermanent house. Therefore, you need to negate, you need to eliminate the permanent cup. That means when you engage, when your mind realize impermanent, you need to eliminate the permanent. I said the permanent, which is the permanent cup. Which permanent you are talking about? When you talk about permanent table, impermanent books, impermanent table, then permanent book, permanent table is the negation. You need to eliminate. Now you look at important. When we meditate on impermanence, you just simply, you cannot simply meditate on impermanence, say, cup is impermanence. No. You use the logic and reasoning, try to understand the cup is impermanent based on eliminating, based on negating the permanent cup. Right? Then, when you fully understood, the cup is impermanent, that means your mind is fully realized impermanent. Then your mind just keep it there. For example, so you're waiting for your friend at the airport. So many people are coming towards you. Then you really don't know which one your friend. Then lastly you saw your friend. That means you just focus, just watching your friend, right? Same thing, you need to study the thing is permanent or impermanent, using all the logics, reasonings. Finally, in your mind, you are very convinced, yes, this is impermanent, then your mind just focus. That's it. Same thing, emptiness. Okay, emptiness. That's therefore eliminating. Second one, affirmation, right? Affirmation mean, for example, when you realize the book, you no need to eliminate the non-book. Non-book. Some Buddhists say, this is book. You just accept. You no need to negate the non-book. Okay, that means when the mind engages into object, there's two different ways. One, through eliminating the negation, eliminating the opposite things, and engage the object. One, no need to eliminate the negation. For example, book, cup, house. This thing you no need to eliminate. Therefore, they call affirmation. Then the next one you can see here, the what mind possess, what aspect of the object and so on are addressed. Right? Different minds engage into different object. Therefore, there's two different ways to engage into the object. The section is marked by the mind, assertion, object, presentation, following topic. The four principles of reasoning. Right? These are the how the subject engage into the object. That means they are checking the lock. Okay, the four principles of reasonings. Do you remember what are the four principal reasoning? The four principal reasoning is okay now. They will take care. What are the four principal reasoning? Huh? Hello everybody. I'm asking to you, not the Buddha. Principle of the number one. Chunyi girikpa, functioning, nature, function, dependent, evidence, right? So I start one, then you remember three. Okay, that means, so these four are very important, very important. Functioning, nature, then evidence, dependence, right? Then there's a order. Do you remember order? First there's a nature. Second, function. Third is evidence. Fourth is third is dependence. Fourth is evidence. So when you have a problems, any kinds of problem, you must remember these four principle reasoning, as well as there are three: reputation, proof statement, formal reasoning. Right? So reputation, that means somebody assert the sound is permanent. So they claim, they say sound, voice is permanent. This is the statement. Then you need to do what? You need to repudiate. No, sound is not permanent. Then how you can say this is the case? If sound is permanent, is sound is unconditioned phenomena because it is permanent, right? So you need to debate. You need to debate the person who assert sound is permanent. How you can say is sound is unconditioned phenomena because it is permanent. When you ask to the person, is sound is permanent because it is unconditioned phenomena? Because it is permanent, then the person need to think, right? The person cannot say the sound, the voice are unconditioned phenomena. Because in order to make a sound, we need few conditions, right? Without condition, there cannot be a sound, there cannot be voice, there cannot be anything, right? For example, when we come in this hall, we feel cool because the cooling is conditioned phenomena. It's conditioned depend on the air condition, right? Therefore, if somebody assert, somebody say sound is permanent, then you need to say how is sound is unconditioned phenomena because it is permanent. Then the person will think, I don't think the sound is unconditioned because it is conditioned phenomena. It depends on many different conditions. This is how you reput it. The second, proof statement. Right? Proof statement. Then third one, formal reasoning. That means the three things are very important. Okay, now we just go all the way. There's a page number 84. On the presentation of knowledgeable object. In general, please, memorize, remember. In general, existent and non-existent are what? Non-existent are defined on the basis of whether something is established by valid cognition. Clear? In general, existent, we say this is existent phenomena, that is not existent phenomena. How we can define based on established by the valid cognition. Right? Valid cognition. Please remember, in general, existence and non-existence are defined on the basis of whether something is established cognition. This is established and the valid cognition. Now look at, so as a Buddhist, we believe in next life. Also we accept next life. Also we believe in the previous life, right? We believe the previous life, next life, the karma, Buddha, Four Noble Truths, everything we must, individually, we must establish by our own the valid cognition. Otherwise, whatever we believe based on, kind of blind faith, based on ignorance, or based on follow by tracks. Right? Do you believe in next life? Really? Believe. How do you know there will be next life? How do you know? Because Buddha said so. No, right? It's not a good reason. They say, established by the valid cognition. So there's a few simple logic, but still is not enough, to prove. We said there must be. So let's say person is almost, is almost end of this life. Almost the person is almost almost ending of this life. They say this person must have a next life. We don't say there's a next life. They say this mind means the mind which is almost end of this life. That means, let's say it's 10 o'clock. 10 past 5, right? 10 o'clock, then 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, person going to die. That means that mind going to going continuously, the mind continuously go to next moment. Continuously going to go to next moment because the mind is, do you remember, maybe in Malaysia, did you study about how you can prove next life? No, right? Okay. So the person who are almost ending of this life, the mind continuously go to next, not next life, continuously go to next because the mind is so attached to something. That means we try to prove there's a next life because the mind has a strong desire, strong attached towards something. That means the mind can be continue. If the minds go continuously, then there must be next life. How you can prove there's a previous life? It's bit easy. We say there must be a previous life. For example, the baby, right after come out from mother womb, then baby always try to do what? Try to cry. No, cries, everybody will cry. Always you could just baby, mom give a birth to the baby. If you leave the baby around, first time the baby try to suck milk. Even though no need to touch to the baby, milk is here. Definitely the baby, naturally, baby know where he or she can get milk. This kind of experience, how the baby has this kind of experience? Because of the previous life. In the previous life, the baby has gone through many lifetimes. That's why they know where the baby, can get milk. Also, you can see, the newborn cow cup, right? Also, when they need milk, they always go directly to the where a cow can get milk. That means this kind of experience already has gone when in the previous life. Number three, when you go around in Singapore, just go around, a new place. Sometimes when you see someone, you really thought, oh, I met the person before. I know the person. You have this kind of experience. Sometimes when you see some totally new person, you feel so closeness. You feel so happy. You feel so close to the person. Sometimes you feel so, what do you call, distance. You don't want to talk to the person. Even though the person didn't say anything to you, the person dressed very nicely, very nice person, look very nice, but suddenly you don't like. Why? That means you are having some kind of experience in the previous life. Okay, these are the basic kind of reasoning logic to prove next life and previous life. Right? That means here you can look at, in general, existent and non-existent are defined on the basis of whether something is established by valid cognition. That means something is established by valid cognition, the thing is existent. Something is not established by the valid cognition, the thing is not existent. Clear? Okay, clear. If something is established by the valid cognition, must be posted in existence. And if it is not established by valid cognition, it must be posited as a non-existent. A vase, for example, exists since it is established by the valid cognition, whereas the horn of the rabbit does not exist since it is not established by the valid cognition. Thus, the following is asserted in the Dharmakirti. Can you read these two sentences in the regard? Observe exists, other there are not observed do not exist. So this is the define how you can say this exists, this not exist. The vase is existent because it is established by the valid cognition. The horn of the rabbit does not exist since it is not established by the valid cognition. How you know the horn of the rabbit does not exist? Because horn is exists, rabbit is exists. Okay. Do you have a pen? Because you can hold the hand. Or the rabbit also can hold horn.
The rabbit holds on.
Yeah. They can hold the grass. They can hold grass. They can hold horn. They can hold stick.
This is horns of the rabbit.
Of course, you can try the horn on the back. Then horn not necessarily exists on the head. Right now you can see because you can see the video. Somebody has a very strange thing on their body. Anyway, let's say the horn rabbit is not exists. Now we just talk about the vase. Vase exists because it's established by the valid cognition. Which one is the valid cognition which is established that vase? That means is again depends. Okay, depends. For example, let's say here we have a 20 or 30 people. 30 people has a different minds. But everybody has a eyes consciousness, but there has a different sight. Somebody has a very good eyesight, somebody has a weak. When you look at the vase, different people has a different types of why can be perceived. Right? Perceived. That means, let's say we are almost over 30 years old. When we look at the Buddha statue, we can perceive this Buddha statue. When the young people, maybe 6-7 years old people, like boy or girls, when they look at the Buddha statue, they can perceive different Buddha statue because of the eyesight. Right? So which one is the valid cognition? One can see, very brightness Buddha, very clean, very bright. For us, we cannot see very bright. That means there are two types of Buddha statue, right? Right? So, which one is valid? Which one is not valid? Huh? Okay. When we look at the moon, what is the size of the moon? How many feet? For us, it looks like one bread, big bread. Right? Maybe for us, when you ask, the size of the moon, so how many feet? Around 2 to 3 feet. Right? So, are we really can see the moon, the real moon or not? Because the moon which we perceive is very so small, is maybe 2 to 3 feet. The real moon is bigger than this world. this planet. So this means, can we able to establish the moon or not? Can we establish the sun or not? No. That means for you, you cannot establish the moon based on your valid cognition. That means for you, the moon is not existent anymore for you. But you cannot establish. Right? Therefore, sometimes we are mistaking with the size. Sometimes we have a right size, but we are mistaking with the color and shape. So it's not easy to, first we say yes, existent, not existent, depend on the, established by the valid cognition or not. But the valid or not is very difficult. First, these are two sentences, right? Then, so that meaning of the existence is that which is absorbed by the valid cognition. Now, existence, established basis, object, knowledgeable object, essential object, and phenomena are equivalent. Please remember, number 1, existence. Number 2, established basis. Number 3, object. Number 4, knowledgeable object. Number 5, essential object. Number 6, phenomena are equivalent with respect to the reference. Right? This means, for example, this book is existent. Existent is established basis, is object, knowledgeable object, ascertained object, able object, phenomena. Now do you remember the meaning or definition of equivalence? There's a 8 provision. Right? Equivalent should not think just is same. They have a particular definition. Right? Definition. That means something existent, then the thing must be established basis. Something is established basis, necessarily existent. There are equivalents. That which is established by the valid cognition is the definition of an established basis. Now, what is the definition of the established basis? The thing which is established by the valid cognition is the definition of the established basis. What is the definition of object? Cognized by awareness is the definition of object. Now you say object. Object means aware by cognized by a consciousness. Right? Established means established by valid cognition. What is the definition of knowledgeable object? Which is fit to be an object of awareness is the definition of knowledgeable object. What is the ascertainable object definition? Comprehended by the valid cognitions is the definition of. Now there's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 definition. Okay, next time when we have a class, everybody must remember all the definition. Then the last one, what's the definition of phenomena? Nature. Posit as the definition of the phenomena. This is, I think, very important to know. Phenomena, then they add one word, which is dharma. Okay? Phenomena and dharma are equivalent. That means, look at the definition, that which is retains is nature. Nature, right? Retain their nature. Do you know exactly the meaning? Retain is their nature mean? Huh? Based on this definition, then we say, I believe in Dharma, I practice Dharma. Okay. I told many times, generally we say, these two phenomena 100% same. We say, these two phenomena 100% same. Right? We say 100% same. But in the reality, two different things. These two things never be same 100%. When you think about very subtle, phenomena, very subtle atom, right? Atom. When you look at through the microscope, you can see the shape, you can see the size, the mass, everything is same. But in the reality, these two things never be 100% same. Don't you think so? Why? Why the two things cannot be 100% same? Because the shape exactly same, the size exactly same, the mass, right, the heaviness is 100% same. But these two things came from different phenomena, different origin. These two things has a different origin, cannot be same. Even though you can say this two is 100% same, cannot be. One is exists in the east, one is exists in the west. Where the exist is different. Where the occupy the space is different. Therefore, all phenomena has their own unique nature. Very unique nature. Therefore, naturally, nobody teach us, arise anger. Anger arises naturally. Compassion arises naturally. When anger arises, makes you unhappy. When compassion arises, makes you happy. Why not? Why? Because the two man has a very different, unique nature. Therefore, there's a different feeling. Okay, this means Dharma phenomena as a unique equivalent. The meaning of Dharma has a two. One is each phenomena has their very unique nature. They cannot be 100% same. Same, right? Then next one. So the meaning of the existence is definition finish. With respect to the knowledge objects, as mentioned earlier, there are numerous systems of classification, such as the 18 elements, right? Do you remember the 18 elements? 12 bases. Remember what are the 18 elements? 666, right? 6 object, 6 consciousness, 6 subject. Okay, what's the last within what is the number 6th consciousness? Mental consciousness. What is the object of the mental consciousness? 6 object, 6 subject, then 6 consciousness. It's same as subject. Then 6 bases. Right? 5 are very easy. The last one, the 6th one is just mental consciousness, right? Mental consciousness. Where eyes, ear, nose, tongue, body, the last one, 6th mental consciousness. That means compassion, kindness, tolerance, anger, all the negative and positive thoughts are included into the mental consciousness. The 5 senses always be neutral. They cannot be positive, neither positive nor negative. The 5 senses. is always neutral. I consciousness cannot be positive, cannot be negative, always neutral. When we talk about positive or negative, always talking based on the mental consciousness. When you look at the Buddha statue with the very pure faith, you are looking through your eyes, but your eyes always be neutral. But the sixth one is positive. When you look at when you look at your enemy with the angry mind, still you are looking through your eyes. The eyes consciousness is still neutral, never be negative. But the mental consciousness is already became negative. So I'm asking you, what is the object of the mental consciousness? Eye consciousness, the form. Air consciousness, the sound. Nose consciousness, the smell. So what is the object of the mental consciousness? Many. That means you can say everything. You can say everything. All phenomena are object of the mental consciousness. That means there's not any phenomena which is not able to comprehend by mental consciousness. All phenomena, right? But do you remember in the books mentioned what's the object of the mental consciousness? Time. Remember? The time, space, all of them object of the mental consciousness. That means 18 elements. Then 12 bases. So on, whereby their specific nature, characteristic, function, and types are explained. However, when all of these phenomena are classified in terms of their essential nature, they fall within the two categories. What are the two categories? Those in terms of their essential nature, they fall with the two categories. What are they? Those that produced by cause and condition that are subject to change, and those that are not produced by cause and condition, they are not subject to change. That means all phenomena we can categorize into two: conditioned and unconditioned phenomena. Right? The phenomena which is depend on causes and condition, we call conditioned phenomena. All conditioned phenomena subject to change. All unconditioned phenomena subject to no change. This is very important, advice, very important kind of message. Say, all conditioned phenomena subject to change. That means today you are so happy, you should not be so happy because it's subject to change. Today you are very unhappy, should not be very unhappy because subject to be change. Change, right? Do you remember in the ancient time there was a king? He has a two guru, two masters. And the junior master was very clever, and the senior wasn't happy with the junior guru. Then one day the king wanted to test the knowledge of the two teachers, two gurus. The king asked, do you remember I told the story? You just teach us one sentence. People can make happy, people can make unhappy. The word is, remember, you have the ring, right? Will or shall? This, I think, these two shall pass. The master guru says, symbol is say, it will change. It will change. This is good. When you are so happy, then somebody says, should not be happy, you will change. Then you feel bit unhappy. You are very unhappy. You are not totally disturbed by something. Somebody say, don't be too disturbed. It will change. Then you shall change. You feel happy. Right? Happy. Therefore, look at all conditioned subject to be changed. Our life can be changed. Our belonging can be changed. Everything will change. When some days, when we see a lot of changes, we should not be happy. We should not be too happy because it is conditioned, is subject to be changed. Okay, that means simply all phenomena we can categorize into two. What are they? Conditioned and unconditioned. Conditioned mean produced by causes and condition. Produced by not causes condition is unconditioned phenomena. The first kind is characteristic in impermanence or conditioned phenomena. That means again, impermanent conditioned phenomena are equivalents. Where the second type is characterized as a permanent and unconditioned phenomena are equivalents. Those belong to the first category are referred to the functional things. That means impermanence, conditioned phenomena, functional things are synonymous. Functional things. Okay, now let's say the rock. So when we go somewhere, we can see big piece of rock on the roadside. Do you think the rock is a functional phenomena? The rock on the roadside is useless, roadside. Do you think it is functional phenomena? Yes or not? Yes. What is its function? What is the functioning of this rock? Huh? Yeah. Just say. That means first what we say, conditioned phenomena, impermanent phenomena are functioning phenomena. These are functioning things. They has a functioning. It has a functioning, right? That means piece of rock remain there for many years. Nobody use it. It is functioning phenomena or not? Huh? I never asked if it is a functioning or not. No functioning, because it is conditioned phenomena. No pervasion, you can say no pervasion. Again, the piece of rock, the useless thing, do you think those are functioning phenomena? Yes. Yeah, functioning, right? What is the function? Produce, yes, produce on is itself. Yes, very good, very good. When we think about functional, we should not think, functioning as a different way. Today rock, produced by the yesterday rock. The tomorrow rock will produced by today rock. The today rock always functioning to produce next moment. Okay, that means all conditioned phenomena always function to produce their own result. Second moment produce third moment produce fourth moment. That means when we say functioning mainly function to arise its own result. A result not necessarily fruits and something, is result second moment. Otherwise, the piece of rock become permanent because it's not more any function, right? It's functioning mainly function to produce its own result. Functioning. That's which is functioning phenomena. Functional things, since they perform the function of generating their result. That means nobody read the books furthermore. Huh? Here, look at. Again, they are referred to the functional things since they, what? They perform the function of generating their result. Their result. They are called products since they arise from their cause and condition. They are called conditioned phenomena since they are produced from aggression and co-aggression and cause. These two things very important. Number one, aggregation. Number two is convergence, right? Yeah. They are called products since they arise from cause and condition. They are called conditioned phenomena since they are produced from the aggregation and convergence of cause and condition. And they are called impermanent since they are subject to disintegration. Okay, this is very important. Disintegration moment by moment. Thus, functional things, products, condition, phenomena. Right? So next, when we have a class, please everybody try to remember all the definition, all the equivalence phenomena without looking your books. Okay, so look at. So we stop here today. So when you study the definition, when each of the definition, also it is conditioned phenomena subject to change. That means when you try to meditate on impermanence, you shall think, yes, my life is impermanent because it is subject to change. Change. Change is not. It doesn't take long time to change. It change momentarily. That means first moment produce second moment produce third moment. That means each moment you are changing. You are changing, your body changing, your thing changing, everything is changing momentarily. That's my, when you meditate impermanence, you need to think this way. You should not think I arise, then remaining for many years, then decay. No, it's changing momentarily. It look like, waterfall. You just stay under the waterfall, look at the water. Water is coming continuously without stopping. But when you look at far away, when you look at the, waterfall from far away, you can see is big chunk of water. When you go closer, there's hundreds of billions of particles coming down, right? So please, you should not think it is, very easy to understand. Also, you should not think it is not important. Okay, you study, try to understand, and you put into practice. Okay, so thank you. So we can do our dedication prayers.